Hi everyone! For my lesson, I was assigned the topic of repeated reading. The objective of repeated reading is to increase oral fluency in struggling readers. Fluency in reading is comprised of three categories. It is speed, accuracy, and intonation. It is important to stress to our students that when reading a passage, it should kind of sound like we're having a conversation. Our words should flow into one another rather than reading each word specifically one by one. Intonation is also important so those listening to the reader know what's happening. Are you asking a question? Are you excited? Um, our voices should move to reflect what is happening in the text. Students who engage in repeated reading should have accuracy skills but lack fluency and tend to read passages word by word. The articles that are presented to the students should be slightly above grade level and they should range between 50 and 200 words. During a repeated reading session, a student should read the passage in 3 separate sessions, each of which will be timed for 1 minute. The goal is that after each time reading the text, the teacher will go through and they'll kind of talk about the words that may have been mispronounced and go over them. So the next time going around, the student will be able to read more words per minute. A student who exhibits stronger skills in fluency will be able to read more words per minute. Repeated reading also improves the student's ability to comprehend text, passages, and stories. For my lesson, I will be modeling how to complete a repeated reading session with a student. I also will be modeling one of my adaptations suggested within my lesson plan, which is buddy reading. I hope you all enjoy my lesson.
Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning.
So today I'm going to have you read a passage to me, okay? I'm going to have you read this passage to me 3 separate times, and each time you're going to have 1 minute to read the passage. So the goal of this is to increase your fluency. Can you tell me what fluency is? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Okay, so fluency when you're reading is how fast and how accurate you're able to read a sentence. So do you hear how I'm talking to you right now and it just sounds like we're having a conversation?
Yeah.
That's what it should sound like when you're reading a passage to me.
Okay.
So first I'm going to have you practice reading the passage to yourself using this little personal phone.
Oh, okay.
And then you're going to read them to me 3 separate times. And in between each reading, we're going to go through and we're going to talk about some of the words that you may have mispronounced, or maybe I had to read them to you because you didn't know how to pronounce them.
Okay.
So I have 2 articles for you to choose from. I have this first one, which is on the California Gold Rush, and this one, which is on mirrors. Which one do you want to read?
This one on the California Gold Rush.
Okay. Good choice. That one's a very interesting article.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you go through the article and practice reading this to yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so now that you practiced, are you ready to read it to me the first time?
Yes.
Alright, I'm going to set my timer right now. And when I say start, you can start reading to me.
Okay.
Ready? Start.
Did I tell you about the time I found the mountain pass to California? James continued. I believe I started talking some notes on that, replied Thomas. But I don't think you finished the story. Thomas sat back to listen, his pen ready. James had spent several years working at trading posts all over the West. By then, gold had been discovered in California, and the rush.
Okay. Great job.
Thanks.
So this first time reading through, There were a couple words that I marked down that you may have mispronounced, so we're gonna go through them, okay?
Okay.
The first one here, I'm gonna go through and like read the first sentence to you.
Okay.
Did I tell you about the time I found the mountain pass to California? So this word right here, this word is mountain. Can you repeat it for me?
Mountain.
So in the next sentence, you have, I believed I started taking some notes on that. Replied Thomas. This word here, replied.
Replied.
James had spent several years working at trading posts all over the West. This word here is several.
Several.
Okay, so I went through on your paper here and I underlined the words that you may have mispronounced. That way when you're coming up to them, you can think of the words that we just went over in your head
Okay.
and you might be able to pronounce them correctly the second time.
Okay.
So I'm gonna set up my timer again and then you're gonna have another minute to read the passage to me.
Okay.
So this time, the first time around, you got 67 words. And that's really good for your first time reading this passage. Now the second time, you got 87 words. So you were
Wow.
able to read 20 more words to me. And that's because we're practicing reading the same thing. So you're getting comfortable with the words in the passage.
So we're rereading?
That's what we're doing. We're going to reread this passage. So every time you read it to me, you should be able to say more and more words and be able to read it faster. That time you really increased your fluency. Did you hear how when you were reading the passage in your head that you weren't reading word by word? You were reading to me like you were talking to me in a sentence. So we're going to do this one more time today, and then we're going to move on, and you and a partner are going to go and read the story to each other and listen to
Okay.
how each other sounds.
Okay.
So I'm going to reset the timer.
Okay.
Good job. Do you see how you're getting a lot quicker reading this passage to me? And now, when you're coming up on words, instead of stopping to say them, you're able to decode them in your head. And this is what you should be able to do when you're a fluent reader. So that's the goal with doing these passages. So last time you got to 87 words. This time, you had 115 words. So we're going to continue doing some of these passages. And we're going to do them every day, and we're going to keep doing them about 3 times a day. But as you get more fluent in these passages, we're going to keep going up to new grade levels. So they're going to get harder, so you can continue getting better in your fluency.
Okay.
So now I'm going to have you work with a partner, and you're going to take your copies here.
Okay.
And I'm going to have your partner come over, and I'm going to listen to you read to each other.
Okay. All right. Did I tell you about the time I found the mountain pass to California?
West to find some gold for himself. As he looked out over the Sierra Nevada mountains,